about 3 years ago, I went to Costa Rica, and when I came back, it was like, woohoo, Pura Vida, this is the life, I'm so relaxed, perfectly fine. I was living in Balakinwood at the time, and every once in a while I would go to a coffee shop down the street and just sit there and read and have a good time, play on my laptop. And the seats were like back to back, like you'd have these tables and somebody's chair would be back to yours, and anyway, I was sitting there and this guy comes in and he's kind of like struggling to get in the seat, and I'm like moving my seat forward so he can get in, and I'm sitting there and a few minutes goes by and I feel my coat move a little bit, and I'm like, okay, dude can't get in the seat, so I'm moving up a little bit and I look down and dude has my wallet in his hand, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And he's like this to me, and he's like, your wallet fell out of your bag and I was putting it back. And I was like, yeah, right. And I grabbed the wallet out of his hands, and he gets up and starts to walk away. And my first intuition was tell somebody. So I go over to the coffee shop lady, the barista, and I'm like, dude tried to steal my wallet. And she's like, and okay, so what does any 5-foot redheaded Scorpio do? He's looking at me and I'm looking at him. Dude starts to run, and I'm like, motherfucker stole my wallet! And I like run out of the coffee shop, and there's like, it's noon, lunchtime, there's families, there's everybody in the world in this coffee shop, and I'm running out the door, and it's like a movie, like guys running through the parking lot, and everybody in the coffee shop, I swear, started to follow me. So I'm running through the parking lot, and like I said, it's like a movie. Guy drops his keys, and he's just running. I don't know where he's running to, but I'm running after him, and he's like 6'2". I'm 5 foot. I'm a 5-foot redhead is coming running after you. What do you do? Like, you just keep running. So anyway, he gets in his car, which is like coincidentally faced outward, ready to zoom out, and I'm like, okay, I can't like kick this guy's car, or I'm gonna like get beat. So anyway, I stand behind the car and I'm like, okay, remember the make of the car, remember the license plate, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like trying to be calm. And so I recall this stuff, and he speeds out of the parking lot, and a guy on a bike comes over, a police officer comes over on a bike, and I'm like, oh, hey there. So anyway, I'm like, hey, write this information down because this is what happened. Give him the license plate number, and he's like, hey, do you want to file a report? I'm like, yeah. So we go in the coffee shop, I'm all calm, he writes everything down, and I guess like 5 minutes go by, and he's like, hey, I just got a call, and the guy that you reported might have been stopped down the road. We have a few cops there. So he's like, do you want to come identify him? And I'm like, okay, sure. So when you're that close to somebody and it all happens so fast, you don't really remember a whole lot. But for some odd reason, I remembered what he was wearing. And he had on this like white knit sweater with like a tweed pattern. So we go there, and there's already like 5 cop cars like parked on the on-ramp to the school. And I'm sitting in one of them, and he's like, is this the guy? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, he didn't have the brown leather jacket on when I saw him. I was like, can you get him to take the jacket off? And he's like, okay, hold on. And in the distance, you see this guy going like, what the fuck? Like, why do I have to take this jacket off? So he takes it off, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely the guy, because definitely had the clothes on. So he's like, okay, we'll come back to the station, we'll write up a report. And on the way back, he's like, so did the guy take anything from you? I'm like, I don't know. Like, sometimes I carry my credit cards with me, sometimes I don't. So we get to the station, and I write my report, and I'm on the way home, and get a call from the credit card company, and they're like, we just wanted to call because we noticed some possible fraudulent activity in your accounts. And I'm like, huh, that's interesting, because I just got pickpocketed today. And so I get home, and I call the police again, and I'm like, hey, the guy stole my credit cards. And so, I don't know, like every couple of days I call the cops, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? What's the story? What's the latest? And I'm thinking I'd probably have to go to court or whatever. 2 weeks go by, and I call the cops, and no news at all. And then finally, one day I call the cops, best news ever, and I was like I had this huge adrenaline kick for like 2 weeks after that, because I found out that the guy, well, first of all, I wanted to like take kung fu lessons and learn how to walk walls because I found out that the guy was driving a stolen car. So I did my civil deed for the month.